They say in California you have to have at least 2 women. I think it's 2 on the board. Okay. Well, now you just get a guy to say he's a woman and you're done. So now that protection's...
Like, how easy do you think it is to basically upend your life and have to take lots and lots of, in some cases, medical procedures in order to go through the process of transitioning? I have yet to see a single trans person who goes through transitioning explain it as a very easy thing. Something that's so simple that, like, hey, I could run for politics, or I could run for politics as a trans woman, and then, truly, I'll have an easy advantage.
We have a new definition from Johns Hopkins. That's right. If you are a lesbian, this means you are a non-man attracted to non-men. What does that mean? Does it in any way define anything to any person? It quite literally doesn't. Okay, the actual definition of a lesbian has always been a female attracted to a female. And gay could refer to males or females who are homosexual. But typically, LGB was lesbian, gay, bisexual. Because lesbian, women and women, gay, men and men, bi, either or. But now they're saying that you're a non-man attracted to a non-man. And let's try this one. Ben Shapiro says they're squirrels now. Because squirrels are not men, and they're attracted to non-men.
Wait, that joke's spreading? I thought that joke was considered like too dad joke for the rest of the right. I thought I was just gonna let, like, this one's gonna come to pass, but no, I was wrong. I gambled incorrectly here.
Means lesbian applies to squirrels. Oh, magnets are also...
By the way, just so we're clear, yes, he is being a child. This is like preschool shit. But it is also dehumanization. It's one of the first rules when YouTube was pointing out in their TOS. Are you allowed to compare a protected group to a animal, like a rodent or vermin of some kind? That was like that's one of the first ones that the YouTube TOS was talking about.
Lesbians, because magnets are not men, and they're attracted to not men. You see how this is?
You see how excited? It doesn't take much, does it?
This is gone. And then there's also there's the gravitational force, which I believe is a component of space-time, which is also a lesbian. Because we, as mass, are attracted to gravitational forces. Therefore, whoa.
I feel like we're in uncharted territory here, you know? I've never seen him this excited for such a low stakes fucking bit. Stakes are quite low on this one, but all right, yeah, giddy up.
Wait a minute. This means everything is a lesbian except men.
Nice.
Okay. Obviously, they weren't referring to physical attraction in the fundamental forces.
What? No way. Crazy.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
If they're going to be as vague as non-men attracted to non-men, they would need to say sexually and emotionally or emotionally attracted. But in this regard, you could just basically say anything that in any way engages in any kind of reproduction that is not a human male is a lesbian. That's ridiculous. Well, here's the opinion piece from Piers Morgan. He says, until yesterday, I mistakenly assumed a lesbian was a woman who was sexually attracted to other women. Certainly, all the lesbian women I've ever known have labored under that massive misapprehension.
You can file all this under, like, the straights debate the queers, right? Like, Piers Morgan is, insofar that I know, is a straight cishet man. That's what he is. And so I like how they all, oh, same with Tim. Yeah, Tim Pool as well. So it's just, you know, you want to throw your beanie into the ring and suddenly be like, well, if you ask me, it kind of seems like non-binary people erase the very existence of the lesbian, the fabled lesbian. I've heard of the lesbian, and we must not erase the lesbian. No, we must maintain the lesbian. It's like, oh, well, in this case, actually, you're just trying to expand the very idea of lesbianism, or even the utility of the language itself, but not to erase anyone at all. In fact, to make things, again, as we are discovering more, wondrously more splendid and complex than we previously thought. That's usually why they get a little bit upset. I mean, they've been upset as far as I've been alive. Any single time there's even a suggestion that something else is included within the rainbow, and even if it's not an official idea, all of a sudden it's like, hey, well, yes, we need to acknowledge the existence of indigenous people, and then we're going to reference that as Two-Spirit, and we need to acknowledge the existence of asexuals and intersex people as well, or differences of sexual development, and we should also, and then like as it goes on and on. That's when they get upset. That's when they're like, well, what is this? The alphabet, LGBT, yeah, QRS, you know?
After all, they put the L in LGBTQ. But it turns out we've been...
The right's whole attack on the Vanguard and BlackRock is funny insofar as the obvious reasons, but I think we should be more clear about what they mean when they say that. It's one step further than the Soros shit, because BlackRock has actually a power in a way Soros doesn't, and it still files with the Nazi conspiracy is true.
Wrong all along. John Hopkins in Baltimore, regarded as one of the world's best medical and scientific hubs. No, Piers, not anymore. Decided this week to unilaterally redefine the word to be more inclusive. In its official online glossary of LGBTQ terminology, it said a lesbian was a non-man attracted to non-men. It explained, while past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who is emotionally, romantically, and or sexually attracted.
See, you know why I'm mad about this? Because, like, I'm a very insecure man baby, and in this one it says non-man. So, like, what? I can't be a lesbian just because I'm a man? That seems, you know... If I'm not being included, I'm upset for some reason. I know it doesn't apply to me, obviously, because I am a man. So, but like, still, what's going on?
To other women, this updated definition includes non-binary people who may also identify with this label. Non-binary people? What about furries? What about people who identify as dragons or ninjas? Like
one joke, but we got it 3 times. You got 3 variations of the one joke, 3 different objects. Yes. How did you like it? Was it better than an attack helicopter? Did it feel better? Did it hit, you know, a little harder?
Mystical spirit ninjas that aren't human or something. Whatever. Here we go. J.K. Rowling.
If this is a new segment, why are we watching Tim Pool? You know what? Touche.
Is chiming in.
Oh, she's here. Look, everyone. Mystery, magic, and mythos. No definition needed. Non-man, formerly known as woman, has been definable only by reference to the male as absence of vacuum, where there's no madness. No madness? I'm actually upset by this, because I'm a man, and I also enjoy madness and menness as well. So I feel this is biased and hate-filled. And maybe this is a form of oppression. I don't know. I haven't figured it all out yet. A non-man attracted to non-men. Past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who's emotionally, romantically, and or sexually attracted to other women. This update includes non-binary people who may be identified as a label. A gay man is a man who's emotionally, romantically, sexually. So if you were just gay, then that would be a potential for a man or non-man to be attracted to a man or non-man, right? If we're expanding it, if we're getting even more complex.
She says, man.
Either way, this is erasing men somehow.
No definition needed. Non-man, formerly known as woman, a being definable only by reference to the male, an absence, a vacuum where there's no manness. You know, I see things like this and it makes me wonder about where we all go, where everything is going in this crazy world.
See, for me, it's usually like geopolitics, climate change, watching world wars and events like that, reading history. Like that's usually where I'm like, yeah, this either bodes well or not well based on what I'm seeing before me. But when it's like inclusion, like we have yet another diversity and inclusion edition. There's even more inclusivity than before. I'm not normally too scared, not too worried about that one. You know, the inclusion's kind of okay.
We've been talking a lot about males competing in women's sports.
Uh-oh.
And I like to say, my friends, we did not create women's sporting divisions because sometimes people wear dresses. We created women's sporting divisions because males and females are different, and we wanted to create a category that protects females. So where do we go?
From those evil men folk. Why is chess gendered? What are you protecting there? What are you protecting the ladies from in gendered chess? Because I like that, like, you know, Jeopardy's not gendered. I don't know why it should be. And why is chess so very gendered? But I guess you do have to protect those delicate females, you know, when they're potentially mysterious minds.
If top-level sporting events will now be co-ed, well, eventually every record will
we need
be
to gender
held by
Jeopardy now.
Females will not.
And I remember that a woman almost got the world record in Jeopardy. And then because it was a trans woman, it broke right-wing minds again.
Be able to. I mean, look, you look at grip strength, for instance. The strongest grip strength of a female is still less than the strongest grip strength of a male.
So what are you saying? Men give better hand jobs?
At the peak, it's still at the bottom of male grip strength. Now, that's why we create divisions for women. So they can hold
it's not all about the grip strength
among women.
Come on.
I certainly understand there are challenges and there are questions in how we be fair. But if males can compete against females in whatever capacity, then over the long run, males will eventually start shattering the records, and eventually every record will be male. And then we see stories like this, where J.K. Rowling points out that women is only definable as the absence of a male. And I'm like, yeah. Apparently, the definition was changed by a biological male who identifies as a woman. In which case, you know what's kind of happening? Like the left, they're not having kids. We're talking about pod babies.
You keep saying that. Dude has no kids. He was talking about like when two of the hosts of the leftist mafia have children. First off, like every time. But apparently the left are not having children, so they're dying off. There's some kind of bizarre reverso like genocide happening by our own desires. I can't remember how he phrased it. It was weird. It was weird to hear the whole thing lay out.
Right. There was that commercial where they have all the babies being grown in bubble pods.
Okay.
Is this an effort by men to eliminate women from existence? I mean, think about it. Everything that's supposed to be protecting women is being replaced by males. They say in California, you have to have at least 2 women. I think it's 2 on the board. Okay. Well, now you just get a guy to say he's a woman and you're done. So now that protection's gone.
Like, how easy do you think it is to basically upend your life and have to take lots and lots of, in some cases, medical procedures in order to go through the process of transitioning? I have yet to see a single trans person who goes through transitioning explain it as a very easy thing. Something that's so simple that, like, hey, I could run for politics, or I could run for politics as a trans woman, and then, truly, I'll have an easy advantage. Yes, this could work out. Because, notably, trans women and trans people in general, very, very popular politically in every single part of the U.S. Yeah, there certainly would not affect your chances in a lot of different electoral districts in the United States to suddenly be queer openly.
Gone. If we create female sports, but then we can just identify, well, that's gone. Now we're saying outright in the definition, males can be lesbians. Well, okay.
Worshipper, thank you.
This say protect women as their friend who is a little too rapey. It's not held accountable by them.
He's an interesting fella.
That definition's gone. So I just imagine this future where it's like, I want you to imagine this, and many of you were going to be like, no, don't do it. But
he's gone to grip strength. It's an old conspiracy thing. Yeah, I mean, he had that dude on too much. Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy used to have courses on that, selling grip strength to other men. Do you want to masculinize, fellas? Do you want to have all the ladies? Then you have to have supreme grip strength. Yes, it's all a woman desires is a man who knows how to grip things with the most extreme of strengths.
Like, imagine walking down the street, and every single person everywhere is just a guy, except some of them are guys in suits and some of them are guys in dresses. That feels like where it's all going. I know I'm kidding, by the way. But like when they start talking about creating the weird bubble pod baby things, it's like, are y'all trying to get rid of women? Just want a society of nothing but males. And so you'll have dudes and then you'll have dudes who identify as female. There's a story we were tracking down at Vice back in the day that we were trying to figure out how to do. So there's this mining town. Allegedly, I mean, this is the story, the legend, as it was told to our producers. There's a mining town in South America where it's high in the mountains. And the men have to go up there for months at a time so that they can do the work, bring back money and resources for their family. But because the air is so thin, they don't bring women and children up there. It's just the men who are acclimated to the lower oxygen content. But then there's a problem. The men who are up there for months, well, they ain't got no ladies. So what happens? Some of the men professionally dress up as women to engage in adult activities with other men.
Okay.
And that's what I think when I see all of this stuff. That story I once heard. And they said, how can we get there? We never tracked that story down. I don't know if anyone's ever done.
I'm sorry. Was he just telling a story of people who, when they don't have women present who are cisheads, cis heterosexual men, and they desire certain desires, and there are other men who will volunteer to suddenly become women for the sexual satisfaction of men in general. This is for the greater good, by the way. These aren't homosexuals and these aren't trans people, but they are willing to sacrifice for the good of everyone else, and they will then perform sexual acts, and that's why it proves there could be an inevitability and a movement towards pure queer domination of society. For the greater good. For the greater good. Yeah. I don't know if I got to Google this one. I'm going to file this one. I don't know if I need to look this one up. I don't even know if I could run that one through ChatGPT. I think that one would break ChatGPT's brain. Now I kind of want to be honest with you. Hold on.
it, but that's the legend. Male prostitutes in drag,
woke GPT.
masquerading as women to service men because they're away from their families and women can't go that high in the mountains.
Okay, is there a phenomenon of hikers suddenly dressing in drag to perform sexual acts on fellow cis heteros? Oh, this is gonna break it, but we'll see. Okay, hold on. All right, is there a phenomenon of minors suddenly dressing in drag to perform sexual acts on fellow cis heterosexual men in order to please them for the greater good while not actually being homosexuals themselves? Damn, this just got fucking smoke show shit. Here we go, ChatGPT. I'm not aware of any phenomenon that specifically matches the description you provided. What was the description, Chad? I want you to read it back out to me, or you're a homophobe. It is important to approach such topics with respect and sensitivity. Avoid generalizations or assumptions about any group of people. I completely agree, woke GPT. Sexual orientation and behavior are complex and can vary greatly amongst individuals. It is not appropriate to make assumptions about someone else's sexual orientation based on their profession, appearance, or behavior. Also true. Wow, woke GPT, you're woke as fuck. It is important to respect and support the rights and identities of all individuals, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. If you have any questions or need information on a different topic, feel free to ask. I'm glad we asked woke GPT, because that was nice and woke.
It's not so much that women can't do it. It's that the men there are acclimated to the low oxygen content. And so they would need...
You know what's funny is fucking Seamus was saying the same thing to me when I was like, gentlemen, there's no amount of gay porn I could show any of you that'll turn you gay, right? Like, even if it was the best fucking juiciest gay porn of all time, I can't turn you gay. And then Seamus was like, I don't know about that. There is prison. I was like, well, prison isn't turning people who aren't gay suddenly gay. I mean, if you're going to talk about something related to the fact that prisoners may experience sexual acts with each other, that could be for a variety of reasons. It goes everywhere from they could be bisexual, they could be homosexual, to they could be simply experimenting, or they're simply, utilizing each other sexually while at the same time not actually being homosexuals. All of that is possible. They're all possibilities. Doesn't mean that that is proof of them turning gay. It's not like, well, you became gay. You just got gayified. The gayification begins.
to find prostitutes who are female and have a higher hemoglobin count so they can transport the oxygen through their bodies and function at the higher altitudes. Instead, a guy just puts on women's clothing and then, services the other men.
I'm sorry, wait, where are you where are you getting this? This definitely sounds like the plot to a fucking gay porno. It sounds like a plot to a gay porno that I would watch. It sounds like a wholesome little story about a bunch of miners who just go deep underground and then fucking let loose, have themselves a party, come back up, and then maybe one of the ones who's got like the heart of goodness or something. Well, they're the ones that actually might start getting the black lung, and the other miners band together to raise money for that one miner who could be dying if it wasn't for the amount of money, and they do it by a full Monty style dance, to the town, and the town's a little apprehensive at first, but then they see all these beautiful men all greased up and a little charcoaly on each other, and then they all start to make out, and then they start having sex, and then the whole town agrees that this is just the way forward, and then the whole town becomes gay. That's not a bad story. Otherwise, based in reality, I've never heard of this before. This is the first I've never heard of the phenomenon of the coal miners in the coal mining town who eventually start dressing up in dresses for the other coal miners to fuck. Like, this seems like a Tim Pool pitch. I'm sorry. Where is he getting this from?
They found a way to replace women.
The man mine.
They
Yeah,
all
the
seem
man
quite
mines.
happy about it. Not really, but that's what I think about. J.K. Rowling is right to be upset. It's just another change in eliminating women. I love this. If non-man is in the definition and gay man...
You know why this is so goddamn asinine, by the way? Because, I say this as someone who is mostly into women, but a little bit into men. It does never stop. Like, even finding men sexually attractive has never in any way made me found women less sexually attractive. I've never been like, oh, well, yeah, sorry, this one cancels this one out, obviously. So now, because of that, just by virtue of the, correlation, causation, I don't know, ergo, vis-a-vis, something. So I'm no longer going to find you. You have been replaced. You've been replaced, yes, by another option. There's another option over there. You've been thoroughly replaced. Women don't exist anymore. It's like, what? What is it? Where are you getting this?
Is it in the definition with the word man? The fact that they can extract women
Extract woman.
from this shows
Can you extract
they view
women?
man
How do you
as
extract woman?
default. I remember hearing
Yes, under patriarchy, that is a problem. I thought you would enjoy the idea of non-men. I mean, weren't you opposed to Women X? just removing the very idea of man from the qualification of what a man is. It's not trying to diminish or take away if you are becoming, again, more inclusive.
this from lefty activists, that the default human is a female. And it's just plumb not true. There's no default human.
No, the opposite. The default human. And I actually spread that misinformation. I mean, it was a misunderstanding, but that was a long time ago. I think it was almost like 3 or 4 years ago where I was kind of starting to say like, oh, we could all potentially become women. That part is true. We can all potentially become women, and we've all discovered that. That's why dudes have nipples. What actually is true is that we're all potentially either or neither. That's the wondrous beauty of where the science is in terms of natal development and how we understand that and how we understand the expression of genes as well as hormones and how the two do a push and a pull. But then when there's an abundance of one hormone in one direction, that it can start to influence things, and we can actually supplement hormones as grown-ass adults and start to change the way our own bodies reorganize things like fat and stuff and move towards what we usually define as more feminine or more masculine. It's wild. We have the technology and we have an understanding as to why it does it. It's actually truly magical that we can figure all these kind of things out. Let's not take that away, because that's really cool. I loved learning about all that kind of stuff.
Humans, male and female, share characteristics. The argument the left made, these lefties were like, and it's like a feminist trope or whatever, is that all babies start off as female but then change to male.
No, they all start out as human, and they can go in either direction or neither. Yeah, they could have differences of sexual development in which you wouldn't be able to classify them as either a man or a woman. They could have conditions in which the 23 chromosome is going to express itself in XY, while at the same time they suppress testosterone, which makes them develop completely as what you would typically describe as a woman. Even a very beautiful woman like a beauty queen happens to be someone who has that very phenomenon, and if you were to test her DNA, it would show up as male according to her. That's wild. Science is so cool. We learn new things all the time. Human beings are complex. Yes, we all start out as a potential man, woman, or neither, and we can become a man, woman, or neither, and then you can continue to transition between whether or not you become a man, woman, or neither.
And it's like you could literally make the same argument that all babies start off as male but then change to female. The argument they make medically, I guess, is that the initial construction of the body is like nipples, which men don't need and stuff like that. And I just think that's silly. To say that either male or female is the default position is just...
It's so fascinating that it goes like this. At the sixth week of development, all right, the fetus in this case, or maybe it would be defined as a zygote at that point, there's going to be most likely a large amount of hormones that are going to influence, based on gene expression, is going to probably dictate how much of these influenced hormones are released, is going to influence development of what are known as the gonal region, the gonads, into either gonads or ovaries. That happens at the 6th week. That's wild. You can move in either direction. And based on, again, a whole bunch of different traits, that's kind of a push and a pull between gene expression, which is going to, be on the 23rd chromosome is going to influence quite a bit of it, but it's also going to be on hormones. And that's why we can supplement hormones later in life to start changing towards one or the other. We just have words for it that we used to define as man, woman. Because like, again, language is expanding, increasing, evolving. As we have more understanding of the world around us, we start to name things that we see before us, right? But then once you learn that it's actually more of a spectrum, that there happens to be, again, a very large percentage of people who are not definable by either man or woman based solely on things like genitalia, or perhaps even gene expression, then we have to account for that. You don't discount that because it's like, I don't fully understand it yet.
Stupid sexism. Men are not...
Embryo. Okay, thank you. Zygote is the 2-cell combination of a sperm and an egg. Anything past that is embryo, I think. So embryo. All right, we'll go with embryo.
Default. Women are not default. Men are stronger, faster.
I like boobs. Same. Boobs are awesome.
They can jump higher. They can fight bears. They're better at survival independently. Well, certainly.
Well, we're back with the fighting bear shit. Righties? Is that the thing? Are you gonna be fighting lots of bears? What's going on here? Killing bears, fighting lions, taking down them tigers. Oh, I could take a puma. I could take a lynx. Again, you get me a panther, I can wreck that shit.
That should be the default, right? Because a strong, capable, and independent...
I mean, I'm a man, I'll be honest with you. I'm considered tall. I'm considered, I'm decently in shape. I could not defeat any one of those animals. In raw combat, no. I might even struggle with a gun because of nervousness and just firing wildly in all directions. But no, I would not take on a bear with my bare hands.
Oh, no, they can't have babies. Okay, well then women who make life and, have breasts for they should be the default. Well, no, because they also can't have babies without a man. And so there it is. I guess the argument the feminists were making is that you can clone a woman with XX chromosomes, but you can't clone a man, or like something like that. Like, I don't know. None of it really makes sense. It's all
Well, yeah. Your understanding of it doesn't make any sense. I can understand why you're confused. I mean, you seem to understand, like, it's like a chicken scratch version of the actual information before you. I don't know, something about XY, you clone a woman, she'll have 2 penises. Something like, I don't know, something like that. It's confusing. Feminism.
just sexist tropes from everybody who's angry at everybody else. And it's all just a whole bunch of jealousy, greed, pride, lust, etc. It's all these 7 deadly sins bundled up together. In the long run, these are the kind of things that are not diverse or inclusive. Calling a lesbian a non-man attracted to a non-man is not inclusive of anything. Or I should say, to be honest, it's inclusive of literally everything. They're just breaking the system, breaking down language, and making literally no sense. We can't live this way. We live in a world of logic and definitions. And if we want to build things and structure things and actually live a better life, we have to know what we're talking about. The left is a chaotic and destructive force that seeks only to gain power and rip everything else apart.
Apparently ex-leftist, by the way. Yeah. Voted for Obama and Bernie Sanders.
It is malevolent.
Now the left is a chaotic energy that just wants to come to power for destruction. That's basically, I think, what Das Kapital it was about, right? All 3 volumes was just like get power, destroy. In that order. First get power, then destroy. Right afterwards.
I'm not saying all of the people on the right are good. There's balance in everything. If you take a look at yin yang, you can see that within the light there is dark, within the dark there is light. But
profound, you say. Interesting, because of the duality of both man and contrast itself. Yes, the spectrum of light being on both extremes here, one being an absence of light, one being the provider of light itself. Oh my, the yin and the yang, you say.
There are 2 overwhelming forces containing each. It's a brilliant symbol that means so much. And that's really what we're dealing with. A chaotic and destructive
Bro's quoting Star Wars. I'm thinking it's deep.
force on the left that seek to rip apart what we have built for no real reason. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel.
Oh shit. We don't have time for that. But that was very informative, by which I mean not so. It worked in the opposite direction. I'm actually more confused now than I was before, and deeply, deeply troubled by everything that I've heard. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hegbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Dimmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.